We'd like to welcome everybody to NEOS Academy, how to set up NEOS for success. This session is going to mainly be for the staff that is the administrators of the NEOS program. We'll give it another minute or two. We still see people logging in pretty consistently, so we'll just give it another minute, but we are going to dive in really, really fast. We have a lot of information to cover in a very short period of time. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. I am Pamela Hodge. I am the business consultant in the professional services department. And my co-host, my co-part, Miss Lauren Root. I will let her introduce herself as well.
Hi, thanks, Pam. Thank you. My name is Lauren Root, and I am the knowledge base administrator for at Assembly for NEA. So all of the articles that you see within the knowledge base, I'll be covering those a little bit later in the session. I write those, so I welcome you all to the session. I'm looking forward to getting started.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. It looks like the attendees list is starting to slow down. Again, my name is Pam Hodge. I am the host of this NEOS Academy today with my co-worker and co-host, Miss Lauren Root. We're going to go ahead and dive in. We have a lot of information to cover in a very short period of time. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into how to set up NEOS for success. All right. So first thing I'm going to say is, again, this session is geared for the administrators of the NEOS program. In order for you to, a lot of the settings that we're going to go to, you need to have what we call administrative privileges, which we'll go into detail. So if you are following along in your NEO system and you do not have access to some of these, it probably means you do not have these permissions and you would just need to speak to your firm administrator. So in NEOS, we're going to go to the black ribbon bar. You're going to go all the way down to the bottom and you're going to click settings. When you go into settings, our administrative settings are set up into 4 sections. You have the directory editors, user defined, staff, and miscellaneous. What we're going to focus on are some of the key items that you need to have set up as administrator to ensure that your firm successfully is using NEOS. The first thing that we're going to touch on is firm preferences. Firm preferences is going to give you your address, your default address. So at the very beginning, your address, this is going to be your firm address. Why is it important to put this information in? Because if you are creating documents out of NEOS, it's going to go here and get your information. If you are creating documents and stuff like that and your firm address is wrong, this is where you're going to need to go. You have your default info. The default info is going to give you your city, county, state, area code. You as we move forward, we'll talk about a DTF provider. Everybody knows DTF is due to firm. So by default, you can set that your DTF is your firm name. Trust provider. Your trust provider is going to be linked to any trust information. So if you guys have law pay and stuff like that, that's where this is going to come into play. You can upload your firm logo. So each one of these sections are just drop downs or free text. Here, remember, if you're putting in providers, you always want to search, and all you have to do is select here and search for your contact. Here, your firm logo. This is where you're going to pull up and insert your firm logo. If your logo happens to change, you can go here and hit the replace button and then upload a new logo. Down here, if you're plaintiff's firm, you may call it a case type. But if you're a defense firm and you want your matters to be called matter types, you can choose matter types. You have checklist sort. What does that mean? Do you want your checklist to sort by phases, status and phases, or status and due date? And then we have what's called default value references. So if you guys recall, on the value tab, you have several different references that you can have in your page layout. This is the way you can go in here and customize. Again, these are just free text fields. Once you select in there, you can start typing in. Even though I'm typing the same thing, it's just going to overwrite whatever is there. Once you make these changes to this, you're going to hit the save button. When you hit the save button, it is going to save your information. If you're in here and you do not get a blue save button, that means something is not correct. So you just go correct whatever information that you have incorrect. But there's nothing in here that has a red asterisk. That's a requirement. Documents, I'm going to briefly tell everybody, you do not want to ever touch this. The reason I say that is because if you go in here and you mess with this, you can break your folder links, your case documents, your templates, and your providers. This is set up when you're implementing NEOS, so you want to make sure that you don't go in here and mess with this. All right. Settlement memo, if you're a firm that has to have or would like specific information or that blurb at the bottom of your settlement statement, this is where you're going to go there. This is a free type field. Again, it's pre-populated with some of the information, but you can go in here and retype. As I selected over it, I could start typing. It would wipe whatever I have here and here out. Time and billing. If you are a firm that tracks your time, you have the ability to set it for the entire firm. You can set it for specific case types, or you can set it for, okay, sorry guys, I'm not quite sure what just happened. We are having a bad storm here. And of course, it would happen to me that, I'm in the middle of talking and then my system just resets. So we're going to go back to settings. I'm going to go back to my firm preferences and then time and billing. Again, time and billing is where you're able to set up time tracking for all your cases or specific cases. If you want to turn it on, you use the toggle button to turn it on and off. Where it says set case types, you hit this drop down, you choose what cases that you want to bill time on. Once you select it, notice that the blue save button populates here. And then here you have staff. So if there are only specific people in your firm that actually bills time, you can go in here and set it for only those specific people that are going to get prompted to bill time. There is another step to this when it comes to the staff profiles, and we'll get to that once we get to staff profile setup. You have billing default time increments. This is a recent change that was made. You can do exact time. You can do it in 6-minute increments. You can do it in 30-minute increments. So you will have that option. Again, we have default provider and default value code. Your default provider, when you're on time and billing, you would want it to show your firm name. Again, this is a provider card. And then default value code. What does that mean? So when you're creating time entries, do you want to say attorney fees? Do you want to say a time entry? You have that option for here. If you are a defense firm and you guys are using leads billing, or you're any type of defense firm and you guys are using leads billing, you can hit the checkbox here to turn on leads billing, and then you get to set up your firm ID. You can display your time and durations as a decimal or not. And then you can turn on trust and invoicing. Once you make all your changes, you're going to go up here and hit save. I'm going to hit discard right now because I don't want to make any rash changes in the cell demo box because I might have a whole bunch of account executives coming yelling at me. So I'm going to hit discard here. All right. Again, this is your time and billing. And then when we get to the staff profiles, we'll go in here and talk a little bit more about this. Under security, you can turn on two-factor authentication. So if your firm wants to turn on two-factor authentication for every single person in the firm, this is where you're going to do it. You hit this toggle button. It's going to ask you, it's going to tell you to enable two-factor. All the staff have to have a valid email address. But if you only want to turn two-factor on for specific staff people, we will do that in the staff profiles. Right here, I'm going to say no because I really don't want to turn it on. If you are here in the two-factor and you want to see which staff people actually have their two-factor, you can view your whole entire staff by clicking this button. If you are one of those fortunate firms that do use our Neos texting, you're going to see a communication tab. If you do not use the premium Neos texting, you will not see this. We definitely encourage everybody, if the Neos texting is a fit for your firm, to reach out to your account executive to get pricing and talk to them about the Neos texting. Okay, that's going to round out firm preferences. Lauren, do we have any questions for this section?
Yes, actually, Willie would like you to repeat the trust provider option, just so just so they're clear.
All right, so if we go back here to firm preferences and we go to default values, right here is a trust provider. So if you guys have law pay or you're using one of our integrated features where you can import your trust information, this is where you would put your trust provider. So your DTF provider is your firm name, and then your trust provider would be your firm name as well. If you want more information on the settlement options that we have within Neos, just let us know and we can get an account executive to reach out to you to go over more in depth with that. All right.
We're ready to move
Okay.
on.
All right. So next, what we're going to do is once we get finished talking about our firm preferences, we're going to move down to staff profiles. So staff profiles is where you're going to set up every single one of your staff. So we have staff profiles and we go to group permissions. We're going to start with staff profiles. So in order to set up your permission groups, you have to have staff in your system. By default, every single person in your firm needs to be able to log into Neos. In order for them to log into Neos, they have to have a staff profile. So here, it's going to give you a list of everybody that's in here. But let's just say you have a brand new staff person. How do we do that? You're going to go up to hit the add button. When you hit the add button, it's going to give you a blank list. So here, you're going to go in and you're going to type in the person's name. When you're typing in the person's name, you have a staff code. What is a staff code? What are they going to use to log into the system? There's a couple of best practice recommendations that we have. You know, if you're used to using your initials, go ahead, keep with your initials. So if Lauren's used to logging in with LR, we could use a staff code of LR. Or if you have one of those firms that people do have a lot of first name, last names, or they may be very similar, you may want to use their first name, last name. Just be consistent across the board. You do have an alternative staff code. This is if you are using an accounting integration that's outside of QuickBooks and you need a different way to identify them, that's where you're going to put in here. Next, you see time zone. Any place that you see that has these red asterisks, that means it's required. So you're going to hit the drop down and you're going to choose what time zone this person's in. So I'm choosing Lauren because she's not in here. I'm giving her a staff code of Lauren and she's central. If I had her digital signature, I could hit choose, upload it. Here in the email signature, you can create an email signature, but since Outlook integrates so well with Neos, you can use your email signature from your Outlook, but some people like to have it in here. You can have it both places. You're going to make sure that you enter their email address. So what you would do is you would select their email and then you're going to create a password. So every single person has to have a password to begin. Okay. Next, by default, it's active. What does that mean? That means this person has an active um, profile in your system. It doesn't mean that they're able to log in. That just means that you're able to choose them in the drop downs and you're able to run reports off of them. The trigger that actually allows users to log into Neos is this Neos user checkbox. Okay. When you scroll down, you have the personal information. You want to make sure that everybody goes in here and fills in all this information. Why is it important? Again, it is linked to tagging of your documents and stuff like that in Neos. So it can go here and pull their information in. If I go to the top and I hit save, What it does is it saves this staff profile. Okay. Under that, we have permissions. We'll get into the actual staff permissions when we start talking about group permissions because they kind of work together. You also are able to add people into staff groups. What does that mean? If you add somebody to a staff group, you can create a email or you can create a message. You can call them out and notes and stuff like that, which will allow you to send one message to a group of individuals. Your time and billing links back to firm preferences. Here, because we have the time and billing turned on automatically for the firm, it's going to automatically allow Lauren to track time. She can track automatic time auto prompt. What does that mean? That means when you are in a case and you're doing something, it's going to allow you to automatically track your time because you're going to have a little pop-up. So there's right here where it says start timer. If this is turned on, it's going to automatically start the timer for you. You can put in how many hours a day the person works. And down here it says enable billing for time. What this means is that this staff person bills time. This is when you turn this on, it's going to allow you to set their default rate. If you are using leads billing, it'll allow you to add that information in. And then if there's specific rate exceptions, what does that mean? So let's just say by default, Lauren's hourly rate is $150. But if she's working on a specific case type or doing a specific task, I can go here, create new exceptions, and then list this out. I can choose that for budgeting, that she can only charge, $25 an hour when she is using the task code of budgeting. Once I make my changes, I'm going to hit the blue save button and it's going to save my changes. Notifications. What does this mean? Notifications means if it's a new message, mentions, intakes, DocuSign, reminders, all these items here. If I want to get notification only in Neos, I choose Neos. But if I want to get an email and notification in Neos, I'm going to choose email. So what this does is it's going to give her a notification in Neos. Remember this notification bell? And she will get an email to her email address. Again, you have to make sure that your email is in there in order for this to work. You can decide, hey, on certain things, I just want to get notification in Neos, or I want both, or let's just say you're not somebody who deals with DocuSign, so you don't want to get any notifications, you can change it to none. So depending on what you want, you're allowed to set this up. And this is specific to each user. If you notice that I don't have the blue save button, it's because Lauren's email is not set up. So in order for me to do any savings, I have to change this back, and now it'll allow me to save. The last item under staff profiles is advanced. What does this mean? So we all love 365 in the cloud, but there are some people like me that still like the desktop version. If you click this button on, what happens is when you go to open up a Word document, it's going to automatically open it up on the desktop view. I don't mean the very first time. At the first time, you're going to get a pop-up and you're going to say, yes, I want it to open in desktop, and then say, don't ask me in the future. And then when this is turned on, it's going to just do that. Okay, so once I hit save, I have set up my staff profile. Now, let's talk about if you need to go in here and make a change. So let's just say that I'm going to pick on somebody that's in here. I'm going to go pick on Kelly Hunt. Kelly is one of our wonderful trainers, but let's just say Kelly decided that she wanted to be Kelly Campbell Hunt versus Kelly Hunt. All I have to do is click on her staff profile. And if I want to go in here and change her name, I can go in here and start typing in, or let's just say her address change or a phone number. You're going to go right back in here and make these changes. Once you make your changes, you're going to hit save, and then it's going to update your system. I'm not going to do that, so I'm going to discard that right now. Now, let's say that Lauren left the company and Kelly is taking over all of her responsibilities. And I want a quick way to be able to take Lauren's profile and merge it with Kelly's. Not truly merge it, but I want to replace it. So I'm going to go up here to the top of actions. So if I go here to actions and I say I want to replace staff, it's going to give me a pop-up that says, hey, you want to replace Kelly with who? And I'm going to say, hey, I want to replace Kelly with Lauren. So when I replace Kelly with Lauren, it's going to ask me all these questions. Do you want to update it in a case assigned, case checklist, calendar items, deadlines, default? And then once you replace all this, it's asking you, do you want to make Kelly inactive? What does all this mean? What this means is it will automatically go and update all these areas. It will update anything that's opened or anything that has not been marked completed. Remember, if you mark somebody inactive after you replace them, you cannot find them in the dropdown, and you cannot find run reports off them. So if you need to still run reports off of them to see what the things they had done in the past, you can just uncheck that. Once I get this set, if I hit save, it will automatically update the entire system for me. But we're not going to do that. We do have a lot of people that says, hey, I just want to delete somebody. If the profile that you're deleting does not mean anything to your system or your firm, okay, you made a mistake, you added somebody and you shouldn't have, not a problem. But if that person was truly an employee and may have done things in your system, you do not want to delete them. Best practices would be replace them and preserve your data. All right, I know I went through that pretty quickly. Miss Lauren, do we have any specific questions regarding how to create a profile, edit, or replace staff?
Yes, so Sandra would like some more information about sending a staff group email. So would it be to at attorneys or at the litigation? She put as an example, just maybe how to set that up and what that would look like for sending an email to a staff group.
Okay, so we will get to that in just a minute. So once we go and talk about permission groups and staff groups, we'll show you how to set those up and then send those.
Sounds great. Um, Kimberly had also asked if you have someone that leaves the firm, should we delete their profile? And if so, how?
Yeah, so I'm gonna repeat what I just said. We do not recommend that you guys delete profiles. We recommend that you replace them, because if you delete it, it's going to delete that this person did this and you may lose data. So you would always want to replace. So I'll go through that again. So if you have somebody who leaves and you want to replace, you hit actions. There is the delete button. Just be careful when you delete, you may be deleting data, but we recommend replace staff. So when you hit replace staff, you're going to say Kelly is being replaced with Lauren. Once you choose the person's name, you want to update case assignment, case checklist, calendar items, deadlines, if the person is a default staff. And then if you do not need to run reports on them, you would just uncheck this. Once you make your selections and you hit save, it's going to save this all the way throughout the system. Okay. All right. So we're pushing for time. All right. So yes, I want to leave. So let's go ahead and jump back again. If as you're here, as we're finishing items, go ahead and close each of these tabs. And then we're going to go back to settings. If you're here and you see the settings and you're in this group and you want to go back to the main page, just hit the back arrow button and it's going to take you back here. We're going to talk about permission groups. Permission groups are going to allow you to organize your roles of your firm. So if different roles have different privileges. This is how you're going to do it. To create a new permission group, you're going to hit the add button. You're going to name it and hit save. Once you create your new group, this is when you're going to go in here and look at this. So here is all the different items, the cases, providers, name details, which is reference for your providers, your calendars, messages, intakes, directories, general, and accounting. You have 4 columns. Enable, that means they can view it. Add, that means that they can view it and add to it. It can modify, that gives them the ability to modify items, or if they can delete. Here, you can hit each of these carrots to just look at this one section, or you can go to the top and do expand all. When you're looking at this, the teal circle with the check mark means they explicitly allow them to do something. The red box means that they cannot. So what you're going to do is you're going to set up each one of these items for each one of these groups, and you're going to make a determination what they can and cannot do. If you guys notice, I created a brand new group and nobody can do anything. So when you're setting up groups, you want to make sure that you're going in here and you're looking at each one of your permissions. So if they have the ability to do it, you just give them all the permissions or deny the permissions. We always tell everybody that you may want to, think about what people can and cannot delete. We recommend maybe the first couple of days to not allow people to delete and then make modifications as you're moving on. Once I have set up my permissions, I'm going to hit save. So what we just talked about were the general permissions. You have special permissions. What does this mean? These are additional items. Can they modify the class code? Can they change the case folder? All these items, it's either they can do it or they can't. If they can do it, you can select all. But let's just say by default that you say that everybody can do anything, but you don't want anybody to make any modifications to your limb dates. You can go right here and just turn off this one item. Once you do that, you hit save, and it's going to save your data. And then your other permissions talks about case type exceptions, report exceptions, or specific case exceptions. What does that mean? That means that they have the ability to do things in every one of the case types except this one case type. So all you would have to do is hit the drop down, choose that case type. Same thing with reports. If you don't want them to see all reports, you only want to limit them to see certain ones, you can choose which ones. And then if there is a specific case that you do not want an individual or a group of individuals to go into, you can hit the search button to find your case. Once you find your case, you select it, and it's going to give that number here. Once you fill all this in, you're going to hit your save button. Now, I've set up this group type. Now I need to make a determination who is going into this group. So you have your staff members. So you've already set up your staff. Now you want to say who gets to go into this group. When you hit the drop down, it's going to allow you to choose one person, multiple people, depending on what you're doing. This is what it's going to do for you. Once you go here, you select each one of your people. You're going to hit save. So when you hit save, it's going to say, hey, each one of these people are in this group. Now, is this the end? No. What we need to do is we need to go back over here to settings, go back to staff profiles, and find those individual people. So if I go back on Lauren and I go back here to her permissions, if I hit expand all, it still shows that she has all these same permissions. In order to make sure that she is inheriting the permissions from the permission groups, we have to go here and hit this inherit button. So previously, when you hit inherit, it's going to inherit all the permissions from the group in which she's listed. Once I do that, I hit save. If I go to special permissions, same thing. I want to hit this inherit button so she inherits the permissions from the group. And remember, the only thing that we changed was this modify group, so she now cannot do this. Once I go in here, I'm going to hit save. When I hit save, it's going to update all of my information. You can have as many permission groups as you want. We recommend that one that each staff should be in one permission group, but just know, let's just say if somebody is in this permission group and you want them to have that one key thing, you can go back to their permissions and say, hey, I want Lauren to be able to add case budgets. I can go in here and I can give her explicit rights to just do this. It's not going to affect any of my permission groups I've already set up, but it's just giving her this one permission to do it because she's a special person. Once I make those changes, I hit the save button and my data is saved. All right, we're going to go back over here to settings and we're going to talk about groups. So to create a new staff group, you go to add and you're going to add your staff group. Okay. If you want it to be active so people can see it, you're going to hit the active button and you're going to hit add. Now that you've added your test group, you're going to go over here and say, hey, who's going to be in this group? I'm going to pick on Kelly and I'm going to pick on Lauren. I'm going to drag their name and drop them. Then I go over here and I find Lauren. I'm going to drag and I'm going to drop. So it says that Kelly and Lauren are in my staff group and I can hit save. What does that allow you to do? So if you want to send somebody a message, so if I want to go here and I want to create a new message and I want it to go to that test group, if I choose test group, it's telling me this is a group. And when I hit test and I hit send, it is going to send that message to Lauren and Kelly both. And remember, if they're logged into the system and they only get the notifications in the system, they're just going to get this notification. But if they had set up to have emails, it will allow them to receive the emails as well. All right, Miss Lauren, do we have any specific questions for this group?
Yes, so Sandra had asked, what if someone leaves and we want to, replace them temporarily, but then we hire someone else? How do they keep track of that? What is your suggestion?
I'm sorry, I'd say that I can be, I didn't,
Oh, yeah, go
my
ahead.
audio on my side is pretty bad because I've got a real bad storm coming through right now.
Okay, I'll repeat that. Sandra had asked, if someone leaves and they want to replace them temporarily, and then they hire someone else, how should they keep track of that?
So best case is if it's somebody that's going to be there short term and it's like a temporary replacement, I would not recommend replacing them unless you're going to do a multiple replace. So you're able to run checklist items. You're able to use some of the reports in advanced search reports to allow that person that's there to be there temporarily. And then once you find that permanent position person, that's when I would recommend doing your full update.
Um,
Okay.
Kimberly had asked, if she is the administrator and the attorney, should I place myself in both groups or just the administrator group?
So if you're specifically talking about permissions, I would say leave yourself in the administrator role position. But if you're talking about staff groups, you could be in both. But when you're thinking about permissions, you would want to stay in the administrator role position because that's going to give you the most ability to do things. All right, one more question and then we'll move on to the next section.
So, Willie had asked a question. I'm not sure if this was answered, but I will just circle back. they wanted to set up a profile for positions within the company, such as attorney, case manager. And then when a new employee is hired, we automatically assign the permissions without having to assign them individually. Just wanted to make sure that that was covered in
Right. So we
adding
don't,
staff to
yeah.
the
So
permission
we don't
groups.
recommend setting a profile up for a position. So if you set up your permission groups, so what we recommend is set up a permission group for attorneys, permission group for legal assistants. And if you set these up like this, and then you can add them to this group, and then as you're creating their profile, they're going to inherit the group permissions. Okay. All right, so then the next couple of things, we're gonna end up going really, really fast, because this hour has gone really fast for me, Lauren. All right, so let's talk about document types. What are document types? Document types are gonna allow you to organize your electronic file. So when you're in a case and you are looking for specific cases, so let's go here. I don't know, we're gonna go to this case. Oh, no, I actually went there and I opened up an intake and not a case. So I'm gonna go here and I am going to open up this case. So when I go into this case and I go to case docs, your document type is gonna give you your main folder, okay? Your document categories are gonna give you that second layer folder. In order to build out these document types, that's when you're going to go to settings and you go to document types. Depending if you're converting from another platform, your document types may be based off of what you came from. But you can go in here and you can make modifications. Again, we don't recommend that you delete. We recommend that you just make the item inactive. Okay. To add a new one, you're going to hit the plus key. When you hit the plus key, you get to name your document type. You want to make sure it's active. And if you have a description that's related to it, you can put a description. Label color. Make it whatever color you want. Here's your color wheel. Definitely recommend use color coding. We're all visual. You want to be able to quickly identify, oh, these are all my correspondence. These are my platings. It gives you the ability to have both. Over here, we have edit fields. What does this mean? What this means is when you hit edit fields, it's going to allow you to say that you want additional information. So if I was to hit correspondence and I hit save, it's going to give me these additional fields under correspondence. If I go here and hit edit and I choose medical and I hit save, it's going to give me these additional fields on that. So some people are like, what the world are you talking about? So we're going to go back to our case and we are going to single select so we get our flyout panel. So when you're here and you go to these fields, these are the additional fields that you get to see based off of that setting. So if you want the additional fields for your document types, this is where you're going to do it. All right. Again, if we go back to document type, name it, describe it, make it active, give it a color. And if you want additional fields, you hit the edit. Now we do have a wonderful KB article that Ms. Lauren will go into later that will give you a listing that tells you what all these additional fields are. There's a lot of good information here, so take a look at it. All right. We're going to go back to settings. We're going to hit this back door and we're going to jump into user mini directories and mini directories. What is the difference between user mini directories and mini directories? Your mini directories are going to give you the ability to customize some of the standard information that you see for the standard tabs in Neos. For example, party tab, case tab, notes tab. So if I hit the mini directory, these are all the directories that come pre-built in Neos. So if I want to add a type for my party, if I select party, it's going to give me what I already have available. If I decide that we're not using some of these anymore, you just want to make them inactive because you don't want to lose data. But if I want to add a new role, I go here and hit the plus key, go here to this top line, type in, well, scroll up, type into this line. How I know it, it has the red asterisk. So I go here and I make a new party role, and then I hit save. So that's going to give me the option of test when I am creating my party, whether it's our client or opposing. Again, your mini directories are for your standard fields on your standard tabs in in Neos. If you're wanting to set up your source when it comes to marketing, you just choose that. So whatever the field name is in Neos, you will use it here. All right. User mini directories. User mini directories allows you to create custom fields based off of the custom tabs and or fields that you have built out in Neos. With that being said, we have 10 custom tabs. So you have 5 list tabs and 5 flat tabs. The 5 list tabs means that you're able to create tabs that will build lists for you. The 5 flat tabs are just data point tabs. When you're thinking about this, some of the most common ones that people can relate to is your contact role, your county of suit, contacted by, court district. You have all these. All these here are going to come. Some may come pre-built based off of your migration into Neos, or if you're brand new, you'll have a set standard. But if you need to go and change them, so let's go to marital status. If I want to change my options, I select on marital status. I can make my changes. I can make an inactive, or I can hit add. Again, when I hit add, it's going to give me a fresh role. And I select in here and I start typing. Once I tab over, I'm going to get the blue save button. There are multiple KB articles, which Lauren will talk about at the end when it comes to finding out how many are pre-built in here and how you can go in and do these step by step. Lauren, I know I went through documents, user, mini directories, and mini directories pretty quickly. Is there a question that or two that we can answer quickly?
Yes, so Jennifer would like to know, when you make updates to document types, what happens to the documents that were saved using a type that is no longer, or sorry, that is now inactive? It was active at the time and now it is inactive.
So if you go to those, you'll still be able to see that in that drop down. But like if you were to go into, so if we go here and I single select, we get this fly out panel. Moving forward, if that type or category has been marked inactive, it would keep the data, but you would have to choose a new one if you want to make any changes. So it's not going to remove anything, but once you change your type, it's going to move this document to the correct folder in Neos.
Great. And then,
So if I
oh,
close
sorry.
this, it moves this around. And now it's showing that this document is in the demand category. So you're not going to lose anything. You'll still be able to see it here, but moving forward, you're not going to see that in the drop down.
Wonderful. Estella has the question that for user mini directories, can we make changes just for a specific case type?
So when you say specific case up, are you saying, hey, you only want to see this information for like construction? If that's the answer, no, the directories are set forth for any field that may be available on your case layouts. So you can't just like delineate that, hey, you only want to see these for automobile or construction and stuff.
Correct. And she did reply with examples like MBA or workers' comp.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next section. I know we're going really fast. There's a lot of information that we're trying to put into this. I have, ooh, Lauren, you think I can do it in 8 minutes? It's going to be fast and furious, guys. So if we don't get to questions at the end, just keep putting your questions in the chat. We will may not be able to answer them live, but we will get a response to you. And just remember, after this, if you guys have learned a lot and you want to learn more, you can always set up training. All right, so we're going to go in here and talk about case types. So we have case types. Case types is the foundation of our program. What do you want to see on cases? What do you want? So when you're in a case type, I'm going to get down here to this MVA. So you have, when you select on your case type, you're going to see general, label, case dates, tab setup, and primary checklist. With this here, when we're talking about case type, what type of case it is, these are all the modifications that you get to make. In the header of your case type, you can choose what you get to see. Some people are like, what are you talking about? If I was to go back to my case that I accidentally closed, so let's go open it back up. Mr. Steve Hill, the header is this. What do you want to see in this header? When you're in your case type setup, these options are what's available, and this is what you're going to see. If you want to see county, you grab it, you drag it over, and then you put it in whatever order you want to see it in that header. You can set up your practice areas. Your practice areas are going to link to your phases. Lim date is an active. Let's just say you decide, hey, we're not going to do MVAs anymore. And you have 1,000 cases in your system, but you're not going to do MVAs anymore and you don't want to see it in your dropdown. You can mark it inactive, but all those old cases are still going to have that information. Down here, staff assignments. You can do whatever you want. You can put it in whatever order you want. If you are adding more to this section, you're going to hit the plus key. When you hit this plus key, you hit this drop down. These are your options. These options are being pulled from your mini directories because these are set. So you can go in there and build out, if you have partner, associate, depending on how your firm's set up will depend on what your staff roles are. Go build them out in your directories and then come back here and create them. You can make somebody primary. What does that mean? That means that if somebody is not, so as we get down to the checklist and stuff like that, if somebody's not assigned to a specific item, whoever the primary staff is will always get assigned that so things don't get missed. So your primary is the main person that's going to be working these cases. And then if you do insurance defense or defense where you need to have budgets, you can enable your budgets down here. When you click this, it's going to say, hey, what is your budget limit? What is your threshold? When we're looking at your budget, what is it going to include? And then you can show it in your case header as well. Any changes, any modifications, you're going to hit save. All right. I know that was fast. I'm going to hit discard. Labels. What are labels? This is how you label things. So on the case, so if you have case built out, if you're underneath the party tab, you have the county and close number. Some firms, it says file and close number or file and alternate. These fields right here is how you identify that. If you don't identify it as date of accident and you want date of event, date of incident, you want DOI, DOA, whatever you want, you can get to put here. If your client, you want to show that it's your client, you get to put them here. Underneath the insurance information, you can have a maximum and you can have a minimum. You can say, what's your goal? What's your minimum? Or what's your maximum? What's your minimum? All this is customizable. This is the thing. You have to set up your case types and the way your firm is designed and will be using. If we scroll down here, you have all your different phases. Your phases are going to attach to your checklist. All right. If you want to add new phases, you just hit the plus key and it's going to tell you it's going to affect previous cases with this case type, and you hit continue and you can add your new phase down here. You can name it whatever you want. Case states. What are case states? These are the things that are pertinent to your case. So this will allow you to have whatever important dates that you are, demand since settlement. All these are mini directories. You go build them out in your mini directory, and then they're going to appear here. If you want to bring over the 314 meeting and you want this top of your line, you drag and drop. If you decide that you don't want client MMI, you drag and you drop. Now, if you are trying to move case dates, that data is there, it's going to delete the data. So you don't want to make any modifications to certain things. If data exists in these fields and you say yes, it's going to move it, but quote unquote, your data can be lost. And I'm going to say no. Do I want to make my changes? I'm going to say no. Tab setup. I got 2 minutes, guys. And Lauren, I know we're not going to get through this, so we'll have to talk to Miss Marissa and have to do another NEOS Academy specific to just checklist. I mean, this hour went by quick. So we're gonna go through the tab setup, and then we'll have to forego the primary auxiliary checklist just to round it out. But if you guys do have questions, we can set up trainings, or we can find pre-recorded other academies, or a lot of things that we have in our repository to get you guys this additional information. So tab setup, what is tab setup? Tab setup is going to say, hey, these are the tabs that I get to see on my cases. So if I go back here, all these are the tabs that I'm referring to. Your tab setup, you can say party, case, checklist can never be turned off. Those are default. You cannot turn those off. And I'm going to scroll down here. You have your value tab. A lot of people think that the value tab can't be turned off. The value tab can be turned on and off. So the 3 tabs that can never be turned off, no matter what case type and no matter what you guys want, those cannot be turned off. However, you can make changes to your layouts. So here, this title, if you decided that you wanted to call it something else, you could. And then if you hit edit, edit will allow you to make changes to the layout that you're looking at. This is where you're able to add additional fields, make modifications to your existing. I always tell people, make sure you know what you're doing before you actually do the action to ensure that you guys do not lose data. Again, if we go here, if you check the checkbox, it's going to make that tab active. And if you uncheck it, it makes it inactive. Any of these tabs that have the edit next to it, that means that you can change the layout to that case type. Let's just say that you guys decided that you have this MVA set out perfectly and you want to take the same layout and apply it to a med-mal case, but you only have a minor adjustments. Once you get your case set up exactly how you want it, you can create new case types based off existing. So if I go back here to, come on. Oh. If I go back here to my case types and I hit add, if I hit add, it will allow me to copy this, okay? And I just did the wrong thing. So if I go to, once I create it, it's going to ask me if I want to create it based off of a existing or not. And Lauren, my computer just completely froze.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure why my monitor is not moving now. So I know that was quick, fast. We did not get to checklists. I promise you guys we will get some information out to you about checklists. Maybe talk to Marissa about, adding, a specific Neos Academy in just for checklist specific, because I could talk 2 hours on just checklist by itself. But I'm gonna let Miss Lauren talk to you guys about, our self-service portal and our KB articles and all. And again, if you have any questions, put it in the chat and we will get back to you guys with it.
Sounds great. And Pam, is your screen unfrozen or did you want me to share my screen? Looks pretty good. You are muted.
Sorry, we're good.
Okay, awesome. Great. Okay, so in the few moments that we have left, I do want to bring your attention to the self-service portal, and you can access that by clicking the help icon on the top right of Neos. And basically, there we go. Okay, so when you access this for the first time in your current browser session, you're going to see this What's New pane fly out. And this contains information about our recent releases, highlights some particular features and enhancements. And from here, you can click here, which will access our What's New page, which is on our website, which really goes into much more detail about each release. Many have short vignette videos about going, which each feature that you can dive into in more detail. So definitely a great resource. If you haven't started looking at this, take a look at this. You can access all the prior releases as well if you wanted to read up, get more information. And we also have the changelog, which is a running list of all of the changes that we've made to the product. And the great thing about this, even though it kind of looks a bit bare bones, is that you could do a Control F and just search for something just to locate it quickly. And this, like I said, has all the releases since we pushed out Neos. So you can see all the changes that we have made. Okay, and then if you want to navigate back then. Okay, and then if you close this, you can either click the What's New tab right there where Pam is hovering over, or you can click the X on the top right of that pane. Okay. So in the middle, you're going to see this FAQ section. And what this means is these are the top 5 most viewed articles within the Neos knowledge base. So you can easily click any one of these just to view it, but just by hovering over and clicking it, and you'll be taken to the knowledge base window with that article automatically selected. But you can also click Show All right underneath that box, which will also just bring up the entire knowledge base that way. I'm going to ask you to close that just for now, because I do want to bring your attention to one other thing before we show you the knowledge base. There is a search up at the top left, and that search is a keyword search. So any word that exists in the article will be searched, and it will show you first the top 5 of those articles, first the top 5 articles of what you entered as your search term. And then you'll see off to the left, there are actually 32 additional articles related to your search term, and you can click that and see the full list that way. So just another avenue for you to search. And if you click the home, yep, perfect. If you click that home right below, yep, great. And if you scroll down a little bit, this is the service catalog. I just want to bring your attention to a few of these items here. Again, the knowledge base, if you click this will bring up, again, the full knowledge base. And just a few key points here. In some of the answers that I gave, I was able to associate a KB article number. And so that enter a keyword is not only a keyword search, but it's also a KB article number. So if you happen to know the article number and you jot down a few article numbers, this is a quick way to locate the article number. So you can print the article for sure. And that is wonderful. But we do advise that you try to look at the articles directly within the knowledge base, just because they do get updated very often. So to locate the article number, which could be used for if you just want to jot down a few article numbers you're going to reference often, this way you have them set available for you without having to search for them. You can click the print icon, and right in that URL where Pam is hovering over, that article ID equals, that is the article number. So you can easily just jot down those article numbers. They're likely going to be a 3 or 4 digit number, and just type in that article number in that search field. If you close that window, yep, and you can search for an article number that way. And then in addition to that, if you click the caret right next to Neos in that first column there, that will open up the tree view. And this is one of the best ways to browse the knowledge base. If you're like I said, if you're looking for an exact article, the keyword or the article number is perfectly wonderful. But if you want to browse and see different areas where we house our articles, this is a great opportunity. So I'm just going to use checklist as an example. If you open up the checklist category of that caret, you'll notice that there are 32 articles, and that is where we house all of the checklist related articles. So auxiliary, case checklist, primary checklist, etc. And so 32 articles might seem daunting to at first look through, but then if you drill down to each of the categories, you'll notice that there are actually only 11 related to the case checklist. So you can kind of navigate more easily to what you're looking for. In the middle pane, I do want to bring your attention to this articles by. So we suggest that you filter this dropdown to last updated because, like I said, the articles get updated very often, and we want to make sure you get the most up-to-date information available to you first. So keep that as last updated so you have that information. And then if you want to close this window, we can round out a few other items I just want to quickly touch upon in the service catalog. So ideas and enhancements, if you have any suggestions for how to make NEOS even better, we'd love to hear them. There is a KB article number associated with that, and I can put that, actually I have that quickly referenced here. Oh, I don't have that at the moment, but I did. But there is an article related to this. So if you click that, this is the view for adding or voting on an existing idea. But if you search for, yep, there it is. So there is an article and it will explain to you how to exactly vote on an idea or how to add a new idea. So that is available to you as well. And then if you want to navigate back to, yep, and then we'll click home. Great. Okay, NEOS University, this is a wonderful tool for your staff to get certified in NEOS. We have 2 training courses available. They can be taken at your leisure, at your own time. All your progress is saved, so if you're not able to complete the lessons all in one shot, that's totally fine. We'll save your progress as you're going through it. And when you complete it, you get a Credly badge that can be used in your social media platforms. So it's a really great resource just for getting start to finish understanding of NEOS. So we really recommend this. And then if you want to go back to the yep, self-service portal, the Learning Hub. The Learning Hub is chock full of all those video tutorials you've seen in that What's New page that Pam was showing you about the releases. All of those videos that are contained, embedded in there are actually in the Learning Hub. So you can access those tutorials. We have tutorials about all areas inside NEOS. We also have these we have these NEOS academies that you can reference. You'll see along the bar on the left that the NEOS Academy has its own section where you can search for those. You can search for previously recorded webinars. So there is a lot of content available, and they're relatively short. Some of them are longer webinars or the NEOS Academy, but the shorter ones only maybe 8 to 10 minutes long. So really great resource, always available to you. And then if you want to go back to the knowledge, to the self-service portal, thank you. And again, the webinars are in there. We mentioned all that. And also get support. So you have the option to click to contact support to get some assistance, either clicking that button or on the button on the top right. And in here, yep, perfect, that, yep. And so you'll want to enter in your full name, your email address, your company name, your sorry, I'm talking too fast, your phone number. Yeah, and the Pam is actually going to do this and submit a test ticket just so you can see what it's going to look like from start to finish. Yep, and your phone number. And one of the great things about this tool for entering in a ticket is this subject line. So actually, Pam, I would like you to use a suggested article. Start typing in document. Okay, and you're going to see these 4 related articles that could help you. But let's say you're actually questioning about document link. So type in link after that with a space. And you'll see that the suggested articles are actually changing. So this might be what you're looking for, and then you don't have to submit a support ticket after all. But if it's not, and it's more technical, We just ask that you try to be as descriptive as possible when entering your subject and your description, just so we can route this ticket to the best person possible.
Keep going.
Oh, yeah. So, and then also, if you have attachments related to, the issue that you're experiencing, go ahead and upload those, click select attachments, and it'll, you can browse the file in your computer, and that will just help us to quickly, review the ticket that comes in, and this way we can provide you with an answer quicker. So, it'll just be a win-win for both sides. And click submit. And you'll see now that your ticket has been recorded and you have that incident number there that you can keep track of. Awesome. And then last but not least, if you scroll down, just you'll see that we do have our add-ins, so Outlook, Word, and the QuickBooks Integrator, and these link directly to the associated KB articles. So this information is updated very often, and you can quickly access those articles and learn about how to download those add-ins and use them, because there is a lot of content available for you. And I think that wraps up the knowledge, the self-service portal and the knowledge base. If you have any questions, definitely reach out to support and we can get those answered for you.
Okay, will do. Thank you, Lauren, so much. Thank you, everybody who has remained on with this. Again, I apologize that we did not get to the checklist. Lauren gave us some great documentation and the knowledge base that we can go to. But if you guys do have any questions, I know a couple of people have already said, hey, checklist was one of the main things. Reach out to the training department, reach out to Alexandra. We will get you guys the information that you need. We want to thank everybody for staying on with us. We appreciate it. Make sure you guys sign up for the next NEOS Academy in February. And if you guys need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us, okay? And any questions that did not get answered, we will get them answered after the recording is updated, and everybody will receive a copy of this recording once it is ready. So within the next couple of days, it may be beginning of next week, because our marketing and sales team is on site this week. So if you have not received anything by, say, Monday of next week, just reach out to us, okay? And wish everybody a great afternoon. Again, thanks for staying with us. And next time I'll have to do a better job to stay within my hour. Thanks, guys. Y'all
Thanks
have a
for
good
joining.
day.
Have a great day.
All right. Bye-bye.